Hi, thanks again. Thank you, Jean. Thank you for everyone for coming out tonight. We are really happy to have Lesley Wheeler reading for us. We at Smartish Pace have been fans of Lesley's for a long time. We were very lucky to have her read for the Hot L series during the pandemic, and that is still on YouTube. A lot of our Hot L readings are on YouTube, so if you want to replay them or watch yourself, you can do that. We also are really excited that her sixth book, Mycocosmic, is here and on sale. It was runner-up for the Dorset Prize. She has other books as well, and she has received support from various organizations that are currently probably being defunded, such as the Fulbright Foundation, the National Endowment for the Humanities. I think Bread Loaf and Sewanee are okay. Anyway, we want to welcome Lesley and thank her for reading for us tonight.
Thank you, Claire, and thank you all for being here. I'm so happy to be here in person and in this beautiful space. So thank you. Emma is the Ivy Bookstore person, is that right? Yes, thank you. And thank you, Liz and Ruby for staffing the table, and to Claire for that lovely introduction. Not Claire, Tracy and Claire and David and Stefan. I'm just delighted. So I'm going to start. I've actually been thinking about that Fulbright to New Zealand as I've been sitting here, because I spent 5 months there, and most of the readings I went to while I was there had just this format. They were often in pubs or cafes or bookstores, and they blended short open mics with 2 longer readings, and I thought I hadn't encountered that format many places before, and I think it's wonderful. I think it's the best format ever. I think it makes everybody in the room feel like they're involved in the same enterprise. So I'm glad to be here and part of this. I'm going to start with a poem by a New Zealand poet. He was the first New Zealand poet laureate, Bill Manhire. And this is from a book called Poetry's Possible Worlds. It blends some memoir with some literary theory and cognitive science. I was reading about what's called literary transportation, the process of getting lost in a book. And each chapter is cued to some element of that process. This one is called Thresholds, and the poem I'm going to read is Garden Gate. Again, the poet is Bill Manhire. Some days I exit sideways. Some days I exit straight. Some days, I bide my time by the garden gate. The blackbird likes my singing. He lingers in the song. He lingers in the sunset to make the sunset long. The garden gate is resting. The garden gate is old. The people passing through it forget what they are told. Well, I meant to send you something. I meant to send it soon. I was distracted by the sun, or maybe by the moon. The garden gate is rusting, the garden gate is old. The people passing through it cannot be consoled. Some days I exit sideways, some days I exit straight. Some days, I bide my time by the garden gate. Yeah, it's a good one, right? So I thought I should read one poem from this older book called Heterotopia, which means other place. The other place for me growing up was Liverpool, England, where my mother grew up. She was born in 1940, so this was during the Blitz and in the years of privation after. And I'm going to read one that is about going with her Irish father to take their tiny little sugar ration to the park to give to the fairies. It's called Gifts. She spent her weekly ration on dolly mix because the pieces were small. She counted them out and walked with her sacrifice to a grove in Prince's Park, where oak and ash and thorn grew together. Instead of saving the sweetness for his tea, her father did the same. Cubes of sugar broken into granules, carried in a matchbox while church bells scolded through the mist. Let's not tell anyone. Parents are inscrutable, their lives all legend and anecdote. They start off as gods, but their power dwindles as fewer of us believe in them. First, you learn not to follow the uncanny lights, and soon you can't even spy them anymore. A small brown shoe crunching the moldy leaves. One grubby hand in her dad's, the other clutching pastel-colored rolls, jellies, foamy striped squares. Her nose is leaking, but she doesn't notice. He is telling her not to stare too boldly. The people need their peace. But he has glimpsed them, and his mother did too, little folk flying on stems of ragwort. Watch them this way, he says, lowering himself onto one knee in the damp and plucking a green spear. Bend it like so, into a circle, and hold it next to your eye. She believes. She understands mysteries. So my new book is called Mycocosmic. You'll see it has a giant, floating, vaguely spiritual-looking mushroom on the cover. And the first book I'm going to read from it is also for Holly's son, because zombies are real. So it's called Carpenter Ant with Zombie Fungus. I figure this is probably the phenomenon that inspired the Last of Us on the HBO series. There's a kind of fungus, kind of cordyceps fungus, that likes to take over the brains of carpenter ants and sort of sprout out of the tops and control them. Carpenter ant with zombie fungus. Some days the soil spits up toys and teeth of broken glass, clay scent and green insinuation. Beneath, within, hyphae fizz with information, phosphorus for the river birch, answered by food converted from light. Maybe what seemed haunted is involuted. Here in the little yard where I did not mean to confine my life, quietness gives acoustic space not just to leash dogs speaking their hearts, not just to wrens and the outraged catbird with her score of scolding tones, but to a rumble I can almost feel and chemical signals I may respond to before I mean to, the way a word of wonder leaps from my tongue without leave. Mycorrhizal conversations, brightly intimate scenes spiking through me the way a fungal fruiting body erupts from an ant's head. Mycelium knows some things about what the dogwood strain for undercover, and what I dream, world I can't call mine, branching and blooming in the sense of choosing among histories and futures, always present, all at once, commensally. So several years ago, I got obsessed with mycelium, which is the mostly buried organism from which mushrooms occasionally sprout. And I didn't know why, but I think that, most of us have read about the Wood Wide Web, right? The idea that there are these fungal organisms. 80% of plant life on Earth could not survive without them because they help plants communicate with each other and trade nutrients back and forth when needed. And I think that idea of networking among many species, because of course fungus influence the carpenter ants and us as well. 80% of the DNA in our bodies is not human. We are, that's one of those mind-blowing things, I think. Thinking about fungus and writing poems about it, but when I came to put the book together, I also had a lot of poems about the death of my mother, which was April 4 years ago, and it was a rough death, and I'm mostly not reading those poems today because they're hard and they make me sad. I was wondering, what do these poems have to do with each other? They're such disparate subjects, until it clicked that without fungus and of course bacterial life as well, death would overwhelm the world. Nothing would break down. There would be no soil to nurture future life. And when I suddenly realized that mycelium could be my muse for metabolizing grief, the whole book came together. This is the first poem in the collection, and if the beginning sounds a little bit like David Bowie's Heroes, you're not wrong. It's one of the those poems where the title slides into the first line. We could be mycelial, eating toxins together, decomposing what's still indigestible about this place. The singed taste could spread our soiled hands wide, vegetate, infiltrate, collaborate. Below ground, we could grow fat on moss, bust out in the wildest shapes, puffball, flagellate, our mistakes gorgeous in dispersal across polluted skies. Help me try. One of a parent's death is a cataclysm, right? But one of the things I didn't know to expect was that my poetry would change. She had always read my work, and I didn't realize that was preventing me from writing about certain subjects. So this is one of the poems that I wrote not long after she died. It's called Sex Talk. It's about the most awkward conversation I've ever had, and of course it was with my mother. And I felt very shy about publishing it, and I was like, oh, okay, good, it's in a print magazine, fewer people will see it. And then it was picked up by Poetry Daily, and now it's all over the internet. So, Sex Talk. After a fight, men want to have sex, but I don't, my mother said. She glanced at undergraduate me from the driver's seat as if a membrane had been breached and asked, "Do you?" I wanted to change the subject. We were returning from the mall through the stony suburb where the model lived, the one who said, "Nothing comes between me and my Calvins," where the fire department floods the common every winter for skating, creating warty ice ungroomed by zambonis, grass snagged in its skin like ingrown hairs. My mother kept looking at me, her eye a sideways question mark, tricky liquid liner painted along the lid, pupil unrelenting. Everyone in the family except my mother owned their own lockable room. She had to read her Harlequins out in the open like a gazelle. We stalked through, asking and asking, "Where is thee? Why can't I? Help me." Nightly, her shirtless husband arrived with a pump jar of Jergens, demanding she moisturize his back, scaly from chlorine, but I knew, spy crouching on the stairs, fingertips brushing wallpaper embossed with creamy trees, its surface all bubbles and seams, what he was after. Once, at a modernism conference, a guy chased me around the canapes while lecturing me on Marianne Moore's asexuality. I knew my mother didn't like sex, but I never asked, was it generally or just sex with my father? Nothing gets between me and my shame. I don't know what Moore wanted, just that she wrote cryptic poems under her mother's surveillance. Heterosexual marriage, she too disliked it. She was nearly 60 when her mother died. Now I know death's intimacy, how honesty frightens me. My mother is everywhere, cells lodged in my body, invisible flakes of skin on sweaters, a baggie of ashes on the bookshelf. Not after a fight. Until adrenaline burns off, I'm hot the wrong way, clenched. I hope she knew what an orgasm feels like. During my first, a rainbow tree grew between me and my eyelids, privately. She said to us over her book, "No, I don't want to hug you goodnight." This is one, there are all kinds of secrets and underworlds as well as mycelia in this book. Again, not entirely planned, but it seemed to be the kind of space that I was thinking a lot about during these years. So I love being underneath a bookstore. That just feels perfect for reading these poems. This one is called Venus/Dodo, and it's about being in a natural history museum in Vienna and moving down from the floor with all the taxidermied birds and suddenly realizing that the Venus of Willendorf was down there. I had no idea. And I kept trying to look at her, and a man who was trying to take a great picture with her with fancy photographic equipment was really mad that I was in his way. In the galleries of glassy-eyed extinct birds, plumage wilts and talons grip dead limbs. Nothing to sing about. So why is my skin humming? A floor below the dodo, revelation, small as a woman's palm, the misnamed Venus of Willendorf, ochre-tinted limestone heartthrob. My fists tighten, can't look away, although a paparazzo is annoyed I'm lingering in his frame shamelessly. She's magnetic, focal, marginal, defunct, droning on. Venus, I hear you're woman-made, faceless, proportioned, like someone gazing down at breasts and belly. It's lovely how matter cleans room, excavating space before melting into the slash. Anonymous, enormous, I am. This is the poem that Smartish Pace published a few years back, so my thanks for that. It's got some quotes from the Oxford English Dictionary in it. I got interested in the word weird. It's called In Weird Waters Now. So I'm going to do that goofy thing with my fingers when I read the italicized bits. In Weird Waters Now. Noun, destiny, power. Weird swept them away. Morris and Wyatt, 1895 translation of Beowulf. The past is a noisy cataract. Don't even try to resist it. Second definition, adjective. Shakespeare didn't mint the weird sisters rhyming over a cauldron, but he did bestir them, spinning a wayward descriptive on the current his tongue paddled. Having or claiming power, that tastes good. Yet the rocks over which my country rages are more like unfathomably sinister. I always get stranded here in a rhizome of horror that can't bear weight, turning bitter words over in my mouth. The person of the house gave a weird little laugh. Dickens, 1865. You must, unless you plan to people the weird places of the earth with weird beings. Kingsley, 1866. Emigrating to Canada. Third arrives the verb, to preordain, to warn of fate. I weird ye, gang na there, Jameson, 1806. I'm going scared. I'm afeared, beyond weirded out. I'm choking on the weirding peas used in divination. My mother warned me bad things come in threes, so watch your feet. Don't cross the stairs. Don't talk to strange men. Never spill salt unless you want to weep. Uncanny laughter bubbles disturbingly. I need your weird, sisters, because these are troubled seas. You know, why don't I? All the poets who came up here and read. Holly was amazing, and so was everybody else, and I was really grateful to be part of this. I'm going to read a poem called Unsonnet, and if you buy a book by me or Holly, you're welcome to take a free one from that table at the top of the room. It's a little purple letterpress broadside that Ecotone printed of this poem. So it's called Unsonnet, and it is in a way a mothering poem because it's about taking my. It doesn't mention this explicitly, but it came from that moment when we were driving our youngest up to accepted student stay at his college and beginning to understand what the future held. Unsonnet. When color comes back to the world, leaving gets near. By the roadside, auburn and cream cows chew spangled green. Creeks steam. A lone bull's horns gore my heart. Judas trees in flower blur. Scintillant mist unveils an omen of mountains. Rows of trees divide each pasture, branches spread wide because they never needed to compete for light. Please, fog, roll back over my life. Shrink leaves to your old sites inside secret wood. May days be short and expeditions brief. No spring, no grief. All right. One more, I think. This is, I've been calling it a dirty villanelle, in the sense that it has a lot of dirt in it, but I'm also messing with the rules. Thank you again for being splendid poets and audiences. Return path. The only way to pray is through my feet, earthward, jolted in return by the fizz of a spiking current. I never thought a circuit would loop through me, believed I was separate, alone, done with gods. But here it is. I found a way to pray. Through my feet, I reach down. There's something animate, mycelial, that touches me back. It's a species of love, a thinking spike, a zinging circuit of energy and dirt, blood and spirit, plutonic conversation, mostly wordless. The way I found to pray is through my feet, sole bare to wooden boards or rug or slate or buggy grass, just as you want to press skin to a beloved's, sparking a current, a circuit. Not that Earth loves me exactly, matters what matters. She wants me to return the mess of my only body, pray from head through feet as I sink, unthinking ash, into love's circuit. Thank you.
Lesley, thank you. Splendid reading, and Holly, so glad that you were here. It was wonderful hearing your poems. Thanks to all of our readers. Every month I look forward to reconnecting with this community, and we'll do it once more before we go on summer hiatus. So mark your calendars for June 8th. We're still confirming the featured poets for that afternoon, but I enjoin you, our regulars, to write a new poem this month, and we'd love to hear it in June. I am giving myself that assignment first and foremost, so I look forward to seeing you there. In the fall, when we return in September, we have readers lined up: Rick Hillis, Mike Juster, Eileen Gazelle, Rebecca Aronson, and on. So we'll have a full complement of poets beginning in September. And so, though we'll miss you in July and August, we'll plan to see you here after Labor Day. And we'll be at the Ivy for a few months before the cold weather sets in, at which point we'll retreat to Bird in Hand, which is in Charles Village, and we can all drink espresso and with our mufflers and hear some poetry indoors. There are copies of Smartish Pace here for you to take. These are complimentary back issues. If you're interested in submitting poems to Smartish Pace, take a look at how, what they do. I always believe in really, reading the magazines that we send our work to, because it's a joint effort, right? There's an editor here, in this case several editors, Clare and Tracy and Stefan, and this is what they like. So take a look and send them something to fill the next issue, and we will see you here a month from now. Thanks so much for coming out.